Welcome to Lights in the Night with your host, Russ Johnson. Uncover the truth about alien contact and hear from insiders who reveal the evidence. Stay tuned.
Hey, once again, back here on Lights in the Night. Thank you very much for tuning in. I guess many people are catching a lot of these shows that are going on. The congressional hearings, they're continuing. As I look at television, Gaia, Beyond Belief, Ancient Aliens, more and more shows are coming. Look, the last time I checked, maybe a couple of months ago, there were 900 podcasts dealing with the paranormal and alien abductions and all of that. And I think next year this time it'll be 9,000 or maybe 90,000. It's growing by leaps and bounds because it's that time that we get the information and a lot of people are participating or waking up. The awakening, how's that? So you got to wake up to know that, as William Tompkins says, he was contacted by the aliens back in 1938, 1940, and the Nordics contacted him and gave him a lot of information of how to build spaceships. And so now we have 3 major spaceships traversing the universe. When Linda Moulton Howe had in that paper, she named 3 spaceships that have been going from place to place in the universe, Mars, Jupiter, Andromeda, wherever, since 2003. And on that spaceship happened to be some astronauts from the United States, and along with Greys, tall whites, and a couple Palladians on that. So they are traveling with us. Now, not only are they traveling with us to those planets, but they are on the planet walking around with us. They're here. Whether it be underground, Dorsey, if you will, whether it be Lake Titicaca down in Peru, they're here. They have deep bases under the water, especially under the Bermuda Triangle. They say there's a base some 20 miles deep under there where the spaceships come in and out, and they have cities under there. So it's all coming to the fore. You got to wake up because it's here. A lot of books being written, a lot of shows. I said Michael Seller, he has Exopolitics. I would tune into him quick, fast, in a hurry. He has written about 17 books dealing with a number of subjects, including Antarctica. And then Kennedy's assassination, he talks about that in JFK book. Then I would say, look at George Norrie. He's still doing a lot of stuff. He has on Gaia. He has Beyond Belief. So, it's just growing. Even Linda Moulton Howe, who started researching all of this in 1979, she has her own show called Truth Hunters on Gaia. So it's growing, leaps and bounds. Everybody's coming to the fore to talk about what they know about aliens, alien abductions, alien presence on the planet, and where Mother Earth is going to take the planet. So here we are.
So I think Russell, a quick question. I'm reading the word Jeff here.
Oh, yeah,
Moon
sure.
and Mars bases. So apparently, Gold says that there is evidence that there are bases already there.
Been there.
And so I have to ask, because I saw that it was Elon Musk that said that in 2 years, we're going to be visiting Mars.
He's already visited Mars.
Okay, that's my question. Why 2 years, number one?
Because everybody is not quite ready yet. That's why all the media is addressing the issues. That's why Trump put together the Space Force in 2019. It's just, now he's going to, and after he gets rid of firing everybody, whatever, but he's going to talk about aliens because he's met with them already. Eisenhower met with aliens in 1952, 1954, and Lyndon Moulton Howe and Laura Eisenhower and Michael Seller, all of them have it in their books, the days he met and what was discussed, what agreements that were made. Listen, so, and even, if you will, Truman knew about the aliens in 1947 because he put together what's called the Majestic 12 document. And then in the same year, 1947, he put together the CIA, Richard. And then the NSA came along in 1952. So all of that's been done, and background information has been dispersed among a core group of people. But now it's going to come out to the rest of us, get bits and pieces of information.
But there's all sorts of information that's floating all over the place. Time travel.
Oh, yeah, well, time travel, yeah.
Which okay, that's a technology that we don't have on this planet.
You do have it.
But you're saying we do have it.
Yeah, I said the secret space force, the dark side, not the one he put together, but there's another secret space force that's been in place since about 1950. You know, the Majestic 12 guys put that together and shut it out from all the presidents and the CIA and the FBI and NSA. They kept it secret. But now all of that stuff is coming to the light of day. It's going to be disclosed.
So let's talk about the pyramids in Egypt.
Yeah.
And now the pyramids in South America.
Yeah.
What's underneath them?
There are tunnels going to
It's not only tunnels. They got some contraptions that are built.
Yeah.
And nobody understands what the hell they do.
It's so much. It's really tons and tons and tons of information.
So nobody knew what these things were.
What do you mean they know?
In other words, it's been thousands of years and nobody knew they were down there until now.
Well, they got stargates that we talked about, and that Michael Salla talks about that in his book.
So the revelation of it being, like you said before at the beginning of the year, this is a time when true things are going to be coming forward. Okay.
Truth is coming.
So those pyramids now are part of this truth?
Yeah, all of it. Yeah. Look, there's so much information about the planets, about what we've been doing, what they've been holding back. The person I would say to for people who want to catch up on this, which make it a little easier, is Dr. Stephen Greer. He's been researching all of this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week since 1993. He used to be head of an ER hospital. He stepped away because he was contacted by aliens when he was 16, 17 years old. And so they said, get ready. So he stepped away. And since 1993, you can go and punch him up, Dr. Greer, and watch what he has. And lately, he put together his website, which costs $500,000, with 10,000 pages of information that he has on that. Now, I would watch Unacknowledged. It's a documentary so far that he put out about 10 years ago that 700 million people have watched it. Recently, about a year ago, he put out The Lost Century. And that Lost Century documentary, you can pull it up on Google and watch that, or YouTube. And I would watch that because he brings up all the history and all the research elements that he has put in place and all the people who have come to him with information that they were hiding. He's the first. He's one of the first on the planet to get that kind of information.
So there's people that have information.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And there are people that are gathering information.
All the time. But the masses of people, 98% of the people were shut out of that. But now it's a little bit better. I say 90%, maybe 98% were shut out. But the other 15% of them are beginning to, as I talk to people running around the streets and passing out my cards, that they are saying, yeah, we know we've been listening to some of that. So it's coming, it's growing, it's expanding and developing.
But what makes it different for those that have this information? What did they go through from different people from like myself that don't have the information?
Well, you'll be able to get it now.
I'm getting it from somebody else.
Well, you don't. Where would you get it from?
Well, where'd they get it from? Is my question.
Well, some people participated in the process. For instance, let's say Bob Lazar. In 1979, he came out and talked about the fact that he worked at Area 51. And he says, at Area 51, we were back engineering these craft. You know, there's 0-point energy and all that, but all the science of that. But nobody believed him in 1989, right? But now they're saying,
So let's talk about Area 51. What's there? What's going on? What's happening there?
A lot of things. They got different aliens coming in and out of that all the time. They practically run that. I mean, that facility, because that's been That's been there since 1947, at least, yeah. With attached to that happened to be S4 and then Grooms Lake. That's been there since 1947. So they've come and go as they please.
But in that area, we have people. And people have been sworn to secrecy. They're not allowed to talk about anything that happens there.
Absolutely. And still are.
And still are.
Yeah, absolutely, still are.
So this is this part of what's happening now? Because I'm pretty sure since 1947.
Frank knows about all this stuff.
Yeah, I know Frank knows.
Just tell him to come and sit down and tell you.
I know that Frank knows about it. But what I want to know, I want to understand, why is it that Frank knows?
Because Frank is a researcher.
Is that what it is, Frank?
He's written, 17 books.
So because Frank is a researcher, he knows what's going on.
He pays attention.
So the information has been put there.
Absolutely. The rest is in movies. Like if you go to Fire in the Sky, which is a movie about Travis Walton, he knows all about that. When you talk about Communion, Whitney Streeper, he knows all about that. It's a movie. Watch Communion. There's a Fourth Kind out of Nome, Alaska. That's a movie. Watch the movie. All of that information is true. Frankie, come on over. Come on.
Mexico, too.
Huh?
Dulce, Mexico, another one.
He talking about Dulce, New Mexico. He knows all about that. Underground bases. Yeah.
More underground bases. What I don't
Frank,
understand,
Frank,
all this information that was given
Come on
and
over.
shared. G-Man, let me get a mic for Frank. And maybe we can use that camera there, because I think this camera's still active.
Yeah, here's a man who does research 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on all
No,
this.
I know, and Frank has written about it and everything else.
But the rest of us are watching Jerry Springer and think that's real.
Well, I'm not watching Jerry Springer.
But I'm saying...
But I go to the movies, but Russ, I go to the movies and I see Encounters of the Third Kind or E.T. Phone Home.
Okay.
I'm not going to believe E.T. Phone Home is a true.
It is true.
Encounters of the Third Kind was true.
Tell him about the...
Okay.
Hey, you got a mic?
We're going to get a mic for you in a second.
Yeah, because Frank, he's the guy that... He does more research than the average person running around on the planet. And so he knows about all this stuff.
So Encounters of the Third Kind, you're saying is real?
It was based on a real... They were going to do a documentary with Steven Spielberg about... It took place in Mexico, Arizona, somewhere southeast. It was where that actually happened. And they put a kibosh on that. The government came in, no, you can't, I'm sorry, but you can't do a documentary. So he turned it into a fiction film called...
Yeah, that's
I
right.
heard Walt Disney also had secret messages, and he had to change
He had to
his
back up.
delivery as
Yeah,
well.
you know the story of Walt Disney. But he was...
Another one about Jackie Gleason.
Yeah, we'll tell about Jackie Gleason. Yeah, that's real. That's documented. That's,
Gleason and Nixon, right? Was it Nixon?
yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
And what did they do?
Nixon went to play golf with Jackie Gleason, and Nixon said, "You want to see aliens? I can bring you to see aliens." He knew
Absolutely.
all about it.
They took
Huh?
his wife.
What was that?
She says no. She's talking to somebody else.
Oh. So Gleason and Nixon got together, and he said that to him on the golf course.
Yeah.
But do you think that was just insane? Like, I go play golf with Russ, and I said, listen, my wife looks like an alien. It doesn't mean you want to see an alien.
Yeah, but I don't remember the whole story. Did he bring him to see something? Or?
Yeah, he did.
That's what it is. Yeah, he brought him somewhere.
He took him to the bases to see the aliens. Took him on the underground bases where they were
He
storing
put him
the
to an
aliens.
underground base in Florida.
Really?
Yeah.
Underground base in Florida.
Absolutely.
Okay, where?
Well,
Well,
And we know where?
that's secret too. But the people who really do a lot of research, like Linda Moulton Howe and all those people, and she started with, remember Linda Moulton Howe?
Yeah.
Talk about her for a minute.
Well, she was an investigative reporter that she really got interested in
Strange Harvest.
in Roswell,
Right.
and then she went from there. I mean, she's done everything. She's Lord,
She's award-winning.
award-winning.
Yeah. She's been doing it since 1979. She's steeped in it.
She has a artifact from Roswell
Yeah.
that it's metal that she had it tested, and nobody can
this.
identify what the metal is.
Watch this.
And and the person they gave it to her was the relative to the guy that did the Roswell. What was the colonel that was
Colonel Corso.
who was there the first time? It was his nephew or
That's important.
grandchild or whatever. He's part of the family, and he gave it to him when on his deathbed, and he gave it to Howe.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
has a relic from a spaceship.
See, all this stuff is documented. Now, she came out with this information. Somebody, a whistleblower, came and gave her this information. Since 2003, these 3 spaceships are traversing the universe to Mars, to Pluto, to Andromeda with the aliens on it, the Greys, the Palladians on it, and astronauts from this country.
The X-37B spacecraft that Space Force used,
Right?
one of their missions that went into space was 908 days. Where did they go?
Yeah.
When did they leave? When did they take off? When did it happen?
Things are happening but they're not going to give you
They
that
don't tell you. They
information.
tell you when he comes back. They don't tell you when he takes off. They don't tell you what they do.
Do we
But
know where they
It was
are?
up there for 908 days.
That's a long time.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course
well,
it
now,
is.
yeah, that's probably what they're thinking. They
About
probably
3
went
years.
years.
They
That's
probably
3
went to
years.
Mars and
yeah,
back.
yeah.
It went to Mars and back.
Yeah, and then
Was
or,
it manned?
or beyond. But yes, of course. Yeah,
It was manned.
But see, these spaceships, 3 of them there, they've been out there since 2003, manned.
Now there's a telescope, not the Hubble, but the one that's in space.
James Webb.
James Webb.
That one. How the hell did that get there?
They put it out there.
Who put it out there?
We did.
When?
About I don't know, about a year ago.
We
Maybe-
shot it out there,
Yeah.
or we placed it out there?
Well,
We shot it out there.
you shot it up, and it's still traveling out.
It's between 2 fields of gravity, so it stays in play between us and the moon.
Yeah,
but
it's further out
there.
than the Hubble.
Yeah,
way
much
further.
further.
Much further
Yeah.
than Hubble.
It's found about 400 or 500 new planets so far.
I heard that there was a planet they saw that looks like lights were in
Yeah, well,
the moon.
It's just so many.
Proxima B they found lights on, but they just found another planet which is 1 quadrillion miles from here.
Yeah.
That they found lights.
That's
I don't
true.
know how they saw something 1 quadrillion miles from here. With that's unbelievable.
Well,
They just found
it took like 6 months for the image to come back. So it's been like a year. They send the image out and it comes back. It takes a year to travel and come back, and that's what they saw. So what you're looking at was taken maybe 6 months ago.
Right, you're looking at
Yeah.
well, if you stare in the sky, you're looking at the past.
A couple of things that's really
Anything you look in the
important.
sky is for the past.
Yeah.
Right, true. That's true. Yeah.
So time travel,
Yeah.
maybe time travel does exist in a different form that we think.
Absolutely.
So there's a movie that I saw that if you're on Saturn, it takes 900 whatever times to go around the sun one day. Does that mean that you age slower, or do you age the same no matter where you are?
You age slower,
You age slower.
much slower.
So if I go to Saturn, I'll be 9.
If you take a rocket ship out to space and travel the speed of light for I don't know whatever time in mind, and come back to Earth the speed of light, by the time you come back here, it could be 1,000,000 years passed on Earth, and you wouldn't be 50 years old.
Really?
Yeah. One thing that you want the people listening, Google and study the 20 and back program. Very important for
What's
you
the
to do.
20 and back? What is it?
Well, for instance, I may be 90, but I look like I'm 70.
So you traveled. Because everybody's asking me, why is it that Russell looks like he's 60?
Because I was in 20 and back.
So you were in 20
Yes,
and back. Okay,
yes,
so
I
tell
was,
me,
yeah. Yeah,
tell
but-
me about 20 and back.
Punch it up. And,
Ladies and gentlemen,
Punch
I've
it.
known this man 12 years. This is the first time he's ever told me anything like this.
I
So
feel a little more
so
comfortable.
let's keep rolling.
I feel a little more, because if you punch it up and you see Tony Rodriguez, the name, and if you see what's the other guy's name, Captain. If you see those names and some other names attached to 20 and back, they have.
I just want to know one
Wait a
name.
minute, wait a minute. Let me say something. The people I just mentioned look like they're about 50 years old or 60.
What age did you
They're
go?
90.
We're talking about you.
I
right now.
don't know.
What age did you go?
anyway.
No, you brought it up. Now you got to finish this. What age did you go out?
I went in the service in I joined the service
Yeah.
in 1952, May of 1952.
How old were you? 20?
I was 18, about 18, yeah.
So when
So
you
I'm-
did the 20 and back program, were you 22?
I don't know. They don't tell me everything.
But you know how old you were when you went on that boat.
They just keep abducting me from time to time.
So you did you volunteer for 20 and back?
Of course I've done. You volunteer.
Do you remember the
wait a
time?
minute, wait a minute. You volunteer because you could volunteer. Watch this. This is very important
I'm
because
watching.
a lot of people are abducted. They could make an agreement with species of aliens, the Greys, the reptilians, the Nordics, whomever, the blue aliens. They can make an agreement at age 5 or 6 years old, right, that I want to participate in your program. But they erase your memory and you'll never remember that again.
So how do you remember you went 20 and back?
Oh, somebody told me. Anyway.
So they told you, okay, do you remember at what age you were when you volunteered?
No. I think so.
How long were you
Once-
gone?
once-
20 years?
Yeah, about 20. That's
So
what-
that would make you 90, 80, 72, 71.
Okay, you say that. I look like I'm 71.
Now you look like you're 60.
Okay.
Did you do it more than once?
No, one time that I know of. One time.
And
That I
they-
was told. I
And
was
you
told.
always come here telling me they told me.
Yes. Well,
So
yeah,
apparently
yeah.
you're talking to still the people that they took you.
Sometimes they still communicate with you from time to time. Now, it's dangerous though.
Why? I won't tell nobody.
No. They know now because my labs. You know my labs. My labs is a situation that the FBI, CIA, the Draco, the Illuminati put together, and they control all of stuff about abduction, and they will abduct you. They will come in and abduct you if you've been abducted by aliens, just to see what the aliens.
Just
Got
to
to
see
do
what
it.
the alien did
So
to
you're
you.
protecting yourself from being re-abducted?
But it's too late now. I got a little information. They abduct you when they get ready. Yeah, abduct you if you watch the boat.
Yeah, but 20 and back is a very special situation.
Well, more than that, yeah. Well,
I didn't even know that it was real until you just documented it.
It's real. It's
Well,
real.
now it makes sense.
Yeah, right. But more than that, watch this. More than that, they able to age regress you 30 years at a time. And when you go to punch up Sky Prince, SKYE Prince, right? When you see that lady, and she's been on dozens of planets, she's been regressed 3 times, 30 years each time. When you look at her picture, she looks like she's 50, but she's well about 150, 160, 170 years old.
So you're 61 is what you're telling me. I am so hooked on this because the proof is in the pudding,
Well,
and you've been trying for years to express information.
I'm
to
giving
people.
you a little bit of information
No,
today,
no.
but it's not
You
about
have
me.
finally-
It is not. It's not.
It is about
Hold, It's
you.
not about me.
It is because you're
no,
the reason we're doing it.
No. Well, no. You got many people. You got David Wilcock.
I don't know him.
Corey Good.
I don't know him.
You got all those guys.
But I
doing
don't know
this
those
stuff.
people.
Well,
I'm not alone.
Did you know about this 20 and back?
I heard. I never investigated. I've heard 20 and back. I didn't know what it was.
People are always asking me, how is it that this man looks like he's in his 60s? Now it makes sense. For the first time in 12 years,
Yes, that's true.
he's told me, don't look at your phone because he's looking to see if they're talking to him. A lot of things. I've been watching his behavior and everything else. So why wouldn't you want to share with me?
I'm sharing. I've got a show.
You're sharing the 20 and back, but you're not giving us
hold.
details.
The details will come from the people like David Wilcock, Corey Good, people like
Russ Johnson.
No.
Was your name on that document, by the way?
What document?
You know what document? When they took those people, and your name is not Russ Johnson.
I see.
What is your real name?
Frank, did you know anything about the med bed or the galactic chambers?
No.
Okay.
Medbed science, I know a little bit about.
Well, punch it up. But that's coming to the planet pretty soon.
I heard about this.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people now that are saying they have the science to medbed. They don't.
Right. The real one has not come down
You
yet.
see, this is the problem with this, because they give you bad information.
You know what I just saw?
Well, there's all the disinformation out there. Come on.
You know what
That's
I-
part of the
I just saw?
game plan.
They just came out and said they have the technology to erase memories,
Yeah.
erase a memory in your head.
Oh, yeah.
It just came out public with that. Saying,
But
yeah,
they
we can
had
erase
that
memories.
since 1947.
They do have that information.
Since 1947. That's why he's telling me. He's telling me he did 20 and back.
Yeah, right.
And they have the science that you can't remember.
But now they made it public.
They made it public. Yeah, it's all beginning to seep out little by
It's
little.
slowly going to come out. Whatever
Because
they have,
it's
it's
too
slowly
much
going
to
to come
do
out.
it all at one time. It becomes totally
30
unbelievable.
years. Now I have a reason to the questions
He's back
that
to
hundreds of
this.
people have.
What-
I am
what-
shocked
What is he back to this for?
because you know how important that is?
There are better questions.
No.
For instance, let's talk about Art Bell.
Who's Art Bell?
Tell me who was Art Bell.
I don't know who Art Bell is.
Oh, no. He used to do Coast to Coast late at night. He had,
Oh, yeah, okay,
he
yeah.
had millions
I
of
remember.
people listening from the 70s and the 80s up until the 90s.
Yes, but Art Bell was not in 20 and back.
He was come on. He
He's
just,
still around?
no, he just left.
He left.
a couple of years ago.
He went 20 and back again. So he'll be back when he's 150.
He'll be back in 20 years.
But they don't age. This guy went, he came back 30 years later. So let me see. So you went at 47. So what you do? What you do since 1977? Well, wait a minute.
What is this guy doing?
Hold on.
You're destroying the show.
No, I'm not.
No,
This
no,
is
no, 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 no.
fascinating.
You just-
I bet you, ladies and gentlemen, write in or call in 888-994-4995 if you have a question. I'm full of questions now.
But we will have the people who have the information, like Frank here and others, who will come to the podium and give us the
That'll be
information.
show part 2.
Right.
But aren't you curious to know? He has
He's
the
got-
answers. He won't give them up.
Yes, I
He's
do.
smiling.
All that information is forthcoming.
Let me ask you a question. Let's switch the subject for a second. You were in Washington. You did radio. You did some radio up in Washington. Remember that? You remember that day? Or you don't remember that?
I started my first radio show in 1960.
60. Okay.
60.
What else? What you do in the 70s?
I was radio. Many stations in Baltimore, television. I was Open and I
In the
worked together.
60s and 70s?
Open and I worked together in 1972 in Baltimore on television. She was at WJZ TV.
So what you do in the 50s?
Wait a minute, so pause.
No. I'm looking for the gapper.
No, I was in the 50s. I was overseas as a controller. I was air traffic controller. When I was 18 years old, I was supervisor.
Okay.
And they sent me to Japan, northern Hokkaido, to teach the Japanese how to be controllers. That was my job.
That was your job. How long
Yeah.
were you in the military?
About 8 years.
So we're just still looking now for 12 more years, right?
Anyway, I want to get to the.
We got 2 minutes.
You got 2 minutes.
I got 2 minutes. I want people to
And
look at this show, and I want you to write
You
in.
got 2 minutes. The program is brought to you by Super Pass. Could you do that for me?
Super Patch, which is another technology. Super Patch, I wear them. I have them on my shoulders. They're unbelievable. Energy, all sorts of things. I hear they're coming out with one for diabetes.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Now, I want to know where that technology is coming from. Nobody knows.
But it came from the guy who invented it. It took him 12 years to invent the Super Patch. You got 20 of them for stress, for diabetes, for sleep, for pain, for all of. And there's
It does work.
and
I gotta
and
tell
no
you, it does
chemicals
work.
in it. None. No vitamins. It's all done by a laboratory QR code based on each patch. 20 of them.
It's a DNA receptor.
And it's good. They launched it last year in 36.
That's the patches you had before, or is this a different one?
I have them, no, but they've improved.
Oh, that's the improvement.
They improved,
okay.
They got one for diabetes now.
Yeah, they did $100 million in volume in France and Germany and Ukraine and all. I mean, and not Ukraine, but Italy and all that. So the 36 countries in Europe.
We got to wrap it up. You know, I'm gonna tell you, you leave me
I
hanging.
really
on the bridge.
appreciate the opportunity of being here.
Oh no,
today.
I want to be in the next show.
And
Tell
the next-
CC not to come.
CC's gonna be with the next.
No,
show.
I want to talk to you. This is. I need you in the midday show tomorrow. This is fascinating.
It was good stuff.
Finally, you give me a nugget.
That's all we can do.
Say goodbye.
I appreciate you guys listening to the show. But look at Gaia, look at Cosmic and George Norrie, Linda Newton Howell. Do your research. It's all coming to the fore. Thank you very much for listening here on.
Thank you for joining us on Lights in the Night. Keep your eyes on the skies and stay curious. Until next time, good night.